Hello and welcome to another video from Sky Chasers. This is a channel dedicated to the education of pole vault technique and pole vault coaching. Today's video is all about the invert, which is the part of the pole vault where you get upside down in order to get your hips to go higher so we can have new PRs. So let's get into it. And this is Lainey. She's from my club, Sky Chasers, and she's been pole vaulting for quite a while. She's getting pretty good. She's a senior. There's some things though that we can do in order to get a new PR, in order to get those new heights. All right. So when inverting, there's a couple problems that can happen pretty consistently, and one of those would be what we call like being stuck in a basket, right? And that's where you kind of get your legs to meet your hands, but then nothing else happens after that. And so I have a little example of that kind of happening. So right here, you can see the legs. They met the hands, or at least pretty close, right? At this point, though, you'd like to see her get all the way straight up and down, okay? But instead, we kind of get stuck in this basket, and we don't get anywhere past this. And so we're going to take a look and see what we can do different. But as she takes that basket, rides it all the way to the top, and then does a really good job of just kind of piking and turning over. So she has a nice 11-foot jump here, which is awesome. But we could get quite a bit more height if, instead of being stuck in this basket, after we make connection right here, how can I get my shoulders to roll under my hips? That's what our focus should be. So here's the shoulder, right? And here's the hip. And we want to see the shoulders roll in this direction. They want to go down and under her hips. If the shoulders move down here, guess what the hips are going to do? Because they're connected to them through her spine, the hips are going to end up moving up in this direction. And then we'll find ourselves in that nice straight up and down with the pole invert, which is what we're looking for in order to get our hips high enough to get completely over this bungee and even higher. And so that's what we're going to kind of look at. We're going to look at some drills today. We're going to look at some other pole vaulters too and see how they do it. And I'll show you a video of Lainey later on starting to get that movement down, which is pretty exciting. Okay, this is Sam. She's also a jumper at our club, and she's working on trying to figure out how to invert as well. So let's take a look at this video and see where we get. Moving her 12-foot pole through pretty well, so she makes great connection with her hands. All right, what we're talking about making great connection with the hands is the shins have made connections with her hand up here. Okay, so that's what we're talking about when I say makes good connection. After this is when we want to try to get our body to go up the length of the pole. We're going to try to get upside down. We start to try to move. Here's what I'm seeing. The shoulders are staying in the same location, meaning they're not moving down or anything. And so because the shoulders aren't moving, the hips can't really move. And so when the hips don't move and we're trying to push our feet higher, what we end up doing is we flex our hamstrings or our glutes, and that's going to push our heels out into a flagged out position. And that's not what we're looking for as a pole vaulter. So we really want to see these shoulders roll down underneath the hips in order to push the hips higher. That way we can keep our feet in our vision, right? Look where our eyes are looking. I want my feet to stay in the vision while my shoulders roll underneath my hips, and then I can get to a full invert. All right, let's continue looking through this jump. And we get to that flagged out position. Our shoulders stayed in the same spot as the pole recoiled, and we were never able to get our hips above the shoulders. So we kind of got stuck, and we end up flagging out and not getting as high as we possibly could. All right, well, how do we learn how to do this? There's a couple different ways to do it, and I'm going to show you some of those that I use. There's a few different methods that are out there. There's a lot of things that you can try to do. You can try candlesticks, and I'll show you what that looks like right now. Candlesticks are a very common drill used in pole vaulting. It helps simulate the action of trying to get upside down. And it's pretty simple. You sit down on a mat or on your bed or on the ground. You can do these anywhere. You can do them at home, your living room. And you rock back, make connection with your top hand, and move your hips over top of your shoulders. And so if we go back and take a look at exactly what's going on here, from this position, we are seated at a 90-degree, like this, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to start to rock your body back in this direction. And you want to try to keep this 90 degrees while you do that, okay? And that's going to help build momentum in order to move yourself upside down. So we start to move backwards. You see how we kept the 90-degree movement the entire time that we rock back? Our top hand makes connection with our leg right there. And we use the momentum of falling backwards in order to move our hips above our shoulders. All right. Now you can do this with a little bit of a snappiness to it by driving these shoulders down in order to make the hips go up, which is what we do when we're pole vaulting. The best way to invert. All right. So that is candlesticks. Other things that you can do is if you have a mechanics cart, or you can build a separate cart of your own, you can really work the invert process, feeling each vertebrae roll underneath the one previous. So let's take a look what that looks like. Here is the mechanics cart that we were talking about. And basically what this allows you to do is to invert yourself and feel what it's like to move your body into a straight position while moving up the length of the pole. And you can do this on the ground, so that's kind of nice. So here's what the drill kind of looks like. Some things to focus on when you're doing this drill is you want to keep your hands close to your legs. So your hands are going to slide against your legs through the drill, all right? That's first and foremost. The next thing that you want to do is you want to roll your shoulders down to the ground, okay? And what we mean by that is that each vertebrae is going to try to hit the ground one at a time. We're rolling our shoulders down. We're keeping pressure on our top hand. Our left arm is just guiding. It's not really doing anything in this drill. It's just guiding us a little bit, okay? So we're going to roll our back to the ground aggressively until we can shoot down the track. When done right, we can do this fairly aggressively as long as we are rolling the shoulders back. And the more aggressive you do it, the more you shoot down the track. And that can translate into your jumping as well. The more you aggressively get the shoulders to go underneath the hips, the more aggressive you get upside down, and therefore the more you shoot up the pole when it recoils. And then you can even use what's called an angle bar, and you can purchase those online. I made one, and so I'll show you a video of what an angle bar looks like right here. This is an angle bar. It's attached up here to the top. There's a chain coming down, and then, I mean, I built my own, so it's, you know, it's an at-home project. But I put a PVC pipe around the chain. And so what he's doing is he's pinching the PVC pipe with his feet. And the PVC pipe is a lot bigger than the chain, so he can easily slide up the chain. And so what he's going to do is, I'll show you what the bar looks like. All right, so here's the bar. You can kind of see what this contraption does. There's a longer piece of pipe on this side than there is on this side. Your top hand goes on the short side of the pipe. Your bottom arm goes on the longer side of the pipe. While you are trying to move your shoulders under your hips and you're taking your feet and sliding this PVC pipe up, the cool thing about the angle bar is that you can release the bottom elbow and bring this left hand in towards your chin, which mimics what you're going to do on the pole as the pole straightens out. So when you begin inverting, the pole is bent. And so if we notice, and we kind of peek through his legs right here, the bar is fairly straight in his arms because it's bent, right? It's coming around into the box below him, okay? And then as we get inverted, we want to simulate what our arms are doing while the pole is straightening up. And so by using the angle bar to do this, now we can get this straighter and straighter. This is his first time using this thing, so he's trying to get some comfortability with it. But yeah, so as you do this more and more, you can maneuver this left hand and this left elbow to where it needs to be while you're trying to invert, so you can try to feel what that's like. It's a pretty good device. There are other ways to get upside down as well. You can work on bubkas if you have a high bar or a pull-up bar. If you have a pair of rings, you can do bubkas on rings, and that works really well. You can put your feet against the outside of the rings. I'll show you what that looks like right here. All right, doing a bubka on the rings, this is where we're going to start in the connected position where you have your hands connected to your shins. To help you, you can press your feet against the straps. That helps keep you balanced while doing this drill. And then basically what you're going to do is you're going to try to bring your shoulders underneath your hips, which is going to push your hips up into an invert. So this is what that looks like. And we can get all the way upside down. And we can do this over and over again. Slide the feet back down and move them up into position again. All right, another drill that you can do is you can get a pole that the kid can use fairly easily, but you're only going to bring them from about 2 lefts or 2 rights, whatever hand they are pole vaulting. 4 total contacts. Okay, so and then you're going to be behind them and you're going to run with them and give them a good push to make sure they can get through. This is going to eliminate a lot of things that they're thinking about down the runway when they're trying to bend a pole, trying to make sure that they get through safe, and they're not really able to focus on the invert part because they're so worried about planting right. They're so worried about keeping their speed up. They're so worried about making sure they're going to get through. So you can take away a lot of those fears by doing this drill. So we'll kind of take you through this. So I run through, I give her a push. That makes sure that she's able to get the bend. She wants to be as tall as she can at takeoff. And then she's going to swing up and make connection. And the only focus is trying to take these shoulders right here, and we're going to see if we can roll them down underneath the hips. If the shoulders get under the hips, guess what our body is? It's upside down, okay? So we're going to have the shoulders roll under the hips in order to get the hips to go up. And the whole time we're doing that, we want to keep vision of our feet, okay? We want to see our feet while we're doing that, all right? So I've given her the push. She's trying to figure it out. Oh, so I see here, we're just beginning to figure out if I apply some pressure on my shoulders like this, then my hips start to move up. So she's starting to feel that, I think, for the first time, and it's pretty exciting. So in comparison to her last video where she was jumping by herself and we kind of got stuck flagged out, we're still flagging out a little bit, but I did see some movement upwards here, right there. It's just a little bit, but it's a start, and that's what you're looking for as a coach or as a jumper. You're trying to just get that to start, all right? We did this drill a few times. Let's watch one of the last times that we did this drill. This is the same drill, the same night, the same type of thing that we're trying to do. We're just getting better at it, okay? So I give her a little push. We swing up, make connection. Oh, check this out. At this point, she's going to attempt to really try to move her shoulders underneath her hips, just like this. So let's see how well we can do. Ooh, there it is. I know it's not completely straight up and down, but man, this is a big improvement. And that motion that she's learning on this drill is something that she's going to be able to apply to her real jumps. And that's going to be real exciting later on. So this is Sam about a week later. Maybe it's 2 weeks later. I can't remember. But she's on her own. We've done lots of invert drills. We've worked on a lot of things. And so let's kind of see how this one goes. So we come through, we go up, we make connection with the legs. And now here's that part that we were working on. Let's see if we can do it. Oh, that is nice. Those shoulders start to roll underneath the hips. She gets to inversion, and now we're up and we're able to turn and pike, and we're in a really good spot here. This is awesome. Let's watch that one more time. Make connection. Instead of just keeping them here, she's attempting to put pressure down and roll them underneath. And by putting that pressure away from this hand, by moving these shoulders away from that hand, it's a fixed point. Something has to move. So these hips, they're not fixed. They're what's going to go up, right? So we move those hips up, and we have ourselves a really, really nice invert. And now we got to figure out the turn and the pike. That's the next phase of the jump. This is a really, really good job. All right, I don't do this very often, but this is me from the glory days. I didn't do a lot of things right, but figuring out how to invert was something right there. That's the motion we're trying to learn, where this back, it rolls up one vertebrae at a time, until we're completely inverted. And that's the goal. That's what we're trying to get to right there, so we can get our hips as high as possible. This is Lainey at one of her first indoor competitions. I think this is her second indoor of the year. And let's see how well we invert. So we make connection here. Oh, that is good. Make connection. And then at this point, the whole goal is to move these shoulders underneath the hips. And we do. All right. We ended up bailing out on this attempt, but this movement right here, that is awesome. We didn't get stuck in the basket. We were able to get our hips up high. And if we're able to maintain this jump through, she'd be plenty high enough to clear that bar. So that's really exciting. So we'll keep working on that, and we'll see where we can get on it. I'm pumped to see where she ends up. But this movement here, where you see the connection followed immediately by the shoulders going underneath the hips to get inverted, that's really good. Really, really good. Let's watch some professionals. We got Sam Kendricks. He's USA. He's one of the best that we've had. And so once he makes connection, let's watch. So right here, he's attempting to drive these shoulders, to move these shoulders, I should say. He's attempting to move these shoulders underneath his hips, okay? by moving these shoulders underneath the hips, it's going to force the hips to go up, and then we can get launched off the top of the pole. Let's go for a ride. It's a lot of fun. So let's watch him put this into action. Make connection. Whoosh. Look at those shoulders. They move right up underneath the hips. He's putting a ton of pressure away from his hand right here. He is moving that shoulder down away from that hand and keeping his legs in it, his feet in his vision, keeping his feet in his vision while he puts pressure on his right shoulder down away from his top hand. And that is forcing his body to go up like a missile. All right, he's going to get launched off of this thing and go for a ride. All right, let's watch this in play. Oh, and then you just get launched. Zoom! It's super fun. Let's watch that again. Come through, make connection, and then attempt to take this shoulder. He's keeping his arm straight. He's not pulling on that bicep. You notice that he's not pulling at all on that right arm. In fact, he's trying to move his shoulder away from that hand fairly aggressively. He's moving those shoulders in this direction. He's keeping his feet up here, not letting them fall back this way. He's keeping them up in his vision so that when he does do this aggressive movement, by keeping his feet in his vision, his hips are going to launch upwards and he's going to get completely inverted. All right, let's watch it again. Zing, there it is. It's that motion right there. That's fun. All right, here we have Mary Saxer, and she's a retired female professional for the USA. She was really good. Actually, I got to train with her a few times. She was training with my college coach at the time, so it was pretty fun to get to know her. But she did a lot of things right. So let's see. We make connection. Once we have connection right here, this is where we want to see these shoulders applying pressure to roll in this direction underneath our hips. Let's see if we can get that done. She's applying pressure, applying pressure, applying pressure. By doing so and keeping her feet in her vision, we get to that inverted stage. Really nice jump. That's awesome. Good job, Mary. Okay, that's all I've got in inverting for you guys today. I hope that it helps you. Hope it gives you some different ways to think about it if that's something that you're struggling with. If you have any questions, leave a comment down below. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any other pole vault educational content. And I have a Discord that I'll link in the description below. That way you can be a part of that community, of our Sky Chasers community. You can submit your videos. I can start a video review part on our channel here. I think that'd be a lot of fun. My goal with this is to just build a space that pole vaulters all around can get help, can get some content, and just have a fun time pole vaulting. So thanks for coming, and I hope to see you next time.